Hi, and welcome everyone to today's episode of our Waves of Change podcast. Today, I'm honored to have with me Priscilla Zamora Politis. Priscilla is a social entrepreneur, speaker, and LinkedIn top voice with over 15 years of international experience in leadership, diversity, and social impact. She is the founder of Women in Management Chile, Destino Interior, and a mentor guiding individuals and organizations through personal and professional transformation. In this episode, we will be speaking about the future of work, purposeful living, nomadism, inner work, and her experience at Lakefront. I'm very grateful to have you here. Welcome, Priscilla.
Thank you so much, John. I'm super happy, excited to be here. And I know that we're going to have a beautiful conversation. So let's dive in.
Yay. My first question is the who are you question. I can imagine many people listening now or watching are excited to know a little bit more about who is Priscilla. The stage is yours.
Well, this is a difficult question depending on the day or the hour. For anyone that is going through personal or inner work, I think that it takes a while in those moments. It's not, I am going through a period of a lot of insights and reflections about identity and who I've been building and who I thought I was. So this simple answer may take a while, especially because I'm very focused now on the being instead of the doing. But if I focus on the being, I will say I'm just a soul on this beautiful planet and using this body and going through different experiences and learning and going through challenges and see how my soul is expanding. That's like the more philosophical maybe or existential answer. But if I come to like the practical way, it also is kind of I would say kind of deep because I've been going through many of these hats of what I'm doing and cycles of transformation, professional transformation. I was in the corporate world for a little bit more of 10 years. I've been an entrepreneur for other 10 years. And now probably I'll keep creating. So the world of entrepreneurship is kind of my thing. I love the private corporate world as well. So that's the place where I'm serving. And the last things that I've been doing, it's navigating to new ways of working and living. So I am the founder of different platforms and organizations, but the last ones that I've had are Women in Management, and we've been working almost 10 years in diversity, equity, and inclusion, specifically gender equality in large corporations in Latin America. I also founded Destino Interior, which is a platform for personal transformation, specifically to become digital nomads. And we're hosting a retreat in November in Brazil. So that's the first retreat. I'm really happy about that. And I'm a mentor also for people going through personal transformations. So people that wants to leave the corporate world and they want to become entrepreneurs, or people that they want to leave their country and take the jump to someplace else. People that are going through dark night of the souls, which I have a few experience on that. I've been doing mentorship for the last 10 years, but it's specifically about these topics this last year. So yeah, I do a lot of things, but I wouldn't say that those things define me, actually. I would just say that actually I will stay with my first definition. I'm just a soul in this planet now, figuring out what to do and trying to make the best of it and trying to do things from love.
Beautiful. Thank you for that introduction. And I feel so honored and blessed that I got to experience you here living at Lakefront, like in different moments and different sides of you. And I can say that, you're a very multifaceted being, which I totally appreciate and celebrate very much. And I wanted to ask you, what is it that you're currently most excited about? Like, where does your energy go or your focus go? What do you find most exciting on this journey for you?
Mm. I think that since we are here in Lakefront, which is a place that calls to people working in our inner work to see how we go and to impact in the outside in the world. I think that I've been many months of, I would say that over a year, in a very introspective moment of my life, questioning how I'm doing business, how I'm working, how I'm living, where I'm living. And lately, I would say actually the last weeks, I'm feeling a little bit of the force of acting, which is great because I've been like, you can get like a little bit like, I can just read books, just be with myself, and like this introspective energy is a little bit more within. Um, and the acting is like outside, and it's like more uplifting. So I'm like, finally, I'm receiving that. And actually navigating the uncertainty and the unknown of where this force will take me. And that is something that I'm trying to hold. I'm having the energy, I'm having like this urge of doing things and trying to put them out of service of where that energy will be placed in a good way. So I'm just feeling like the engine of, yeah, let's do things. I want to collaborate with people. I'm having like great conversations on just asking people, what do you do? Where do you need help? I'm dreaming with this and that. And I know I'm trusting that it will eventually land in a shape or form that I'm imagining, or even is going to be even better. And I probably will be in the next months. I have a lot of ideas in my mind, but I think that I'm excited just to be excited, just to have that energy, because I don't take it for granted to be stable and having this I call it like founder energy, but it's also like source energy of like, yeah, I want to create things. I'm feeling like I can hold things, like hold a vision, and to start like creating a project. For me, it's more now of working with that alignment, that balance in yourself first, that alignment with the source, the universe, God, the inspiration, however you call it, to focus on solving something that needs to be attended. So I mean, like that moment of like almost jumping, and I have a few ideas, but I'm just excited for this particular moment. If we talk a couple of months later, probably you will have the shape already. But I just want to share that excitement. It's like so nice to feel just inspired to do things. So now I have like in front of me a lot of possibilities at the same time. Like almost I can feel the parallel universes of one conversation will take to this project, but another one will take this other. So I don't know. It's exciting to just be excited of creating.
I can definitely feel your it's contagious in a positive way that yes, I'm excited for you. Like whatever will come out of that, and it will definitely have a very beautiful form. I can imagine and serving people. And I was curious, um, like this way of living, this way of creating, this way of how I hear it from you, listening to what wants to come through. Has that been always your experience, or what was your path to now be in this place that you were just describing?
That's a super good question because some people want to become entrepreneurs for being independent and not having a boss, or to create wealth and having money, or to solve a problem in the world and you want to do something. And I think that I have done projects for all of those reasons and many more. The ego sometimes, like, oh, I want to do something big, doesn't matter what. Or this is a particular interest. I like fashion, for example. I'm going to do something like that. I think that I've created for many reasons different projects. Many fail, which is super good. It's such a good experience to create a company or a project and it doesn't work because you learn so much. Uh, the last company that I had called Women in Management, it started almost 10 years ago. I remember that one day I was, when I was like, yeah, I want to create something, but I don't know what, and or how, what shape could it be? I'm interested in this problem of gender inequality in the workplace. And one day I was in the beach, I was sleeping, and I wake up at 3 a.m. And I was like, what if I make this like a consultant company, and I could, because I was working still in the corporate world, and I could live out of this, and I could have a team. And I write notes in my cell phone. Like, I woke up with the idea, with the clarity of this could happen. I could live out of this. I could have a beautiful work environment. And but I think that the most important thing was, I love this and I care about this, and I could live doing this. I could make a living of it. So, but that was at 3 a.m. on, I don't know, a weekend in December on 2014, 15. So it came out of the blue. And I've been thinking a lot about that moment. Like, what was that thing that sparked this idea or this inspiration? Because it wasn't me, I was sleeping. So I kind of felt that that idea landed. And I think that that's why I'm like in this moment of, I know that the moment will arrive and the idea will arrive as more as I work on the things that are important for me. And today, things in the world are important for me. Inner development is important for me. Feeling free, feeling freedom working, it's important for me. So I know that the time is going to come, but it's not my head. It's not just me. I think that if we start thinking that we actually co-create our life and our projects with people, with this network, but also with something bigger than ourselves, for sure. Like that, I know for sure. And not just the problem, also the blessings, also the good things, and the clients and the money, and all of that is like all co-created. So you need to be humble too. Like, it's not just me. It's not like anyone is there a super entrepreneur. No, I think that it's something bigger than it's all aligning like a bigger plan. I would say. Mm.
Thank you for sharing that. And it really deeply resonates also with my own experience. Like I was now browsing my mind when I had this the last time in a very strong way. And I think this experience was when I wrote my first children's book. It came to me and it felt like the universe was shouting in my ear, you need to do this. And it's not that I just thought about it. It was like this intense message, like this, you need to do this. And it's so interesting for me to observe as well, like from which place does a creation come? How does that inform the rest of the process? And how much energy does it attract from the outside world, and how much support, how much collaboration? And I see that in the shift. So it's beautiful to hear you, say that, relate to that, and being in this state of openness and just listening.
Mm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, when you are open to listen, because I think that ideas are all around us. Like anyone can just get one and like just implement. But when you find also with alignment with what your heart wants, what your soul wants, it's like it makes like a magical click. Like, yeah, that's the idea. That's like the action in the concrete world. But this is something that I came to do. So I don't know, it's like a beautiful click. And I've seen your books, and that's all you too. Like, oh yeah, they're so beautiful. So yeah, that's a very nice manifestation of the calling, I would say, or the purpose of your soul. Mm.
I was also wondering a little bit about your journey, because I can imagine that your journey might have started in a completely different place. And maybe someone is listening right now and says, wow, Priscilla is amazing. Where did this start? Like, what was her path to where she is now? Maybe you can take us on this journey a little bit.
It was a very messy part, a journey. It's like it has many parts, but just very quickly, I studied political science, and I always thought that I was going to work in the government or I was going to be a diplomat, and that was not my path. That was not. I studied that, and I did a lot of like studies related to that. But eventually, like everything happens for a reason. It didn't happen how I wanted, but I ended up working in the United Nations for a few years as a consultant anyway, but I wanted it in a different way. Or I made studies about the Middle East when I was in college. It never was very useful, but now I just got a 10-year resident visa in Dubai. So it's kind of useful now to set the cultural setting for me going there. So I see so many things that I've done or I study that they don't make a lot of sense in that particular moment in time. But 10, 15, 20 years later, it's like, yeah, I now understand why that happened. So I've been thinking going in the public sector, and it didn't work. I just worked 3 months there. But all that experience helped me so much going to business and leaving a little bit disappointed of like workplaces and leadership and companies, how they perform or how they work or what are their like ways of doing and things in the world. And in the end, it helped me so much because now every problem that I see that people challenge working in large corporations is like, I know I've been there. I know the pain. So I've been a little bit of all over the place. Being an entrepreneur also sounds great, but it comes with a lot of challenges. Sometimes we like romanticize to be your own boss, to have your own company. And we don't realize that actually we bring so much of the trauma of working in like what we know large corporations, going to pursue indicators or goals or profit, impact, how many hours and people or organizations we are reaching. And it's actually like another rat wheel that we do for ourselves being an entrepreneurs when we could do things completely different. So I've seen that we in different areas, doesn't matter where we are working or where we are making impact, we have certain set of rules that in my path, it's been a long journey to defy them, to unlearn those ways. And now I think that I'm in a moment of transition of the old paradigm of working, creating companies, even relating, even living towards a new one that is kind of unknown. And I think that we all, as humanity, are going to that one. And it's a bit scary, but it's super exciting. And I think that, for example, Lakefront is such a good way of seeing, for example, living in community, how different it is. As I thought that it was living in a city or with people or a format of family. So yeah, how I work and how I live has shifted a lot in my journey. And I'm actually hoping that eventually in a few years it will change again and it will change again because I'm here to grow, to evolve. I think that that's why I'm alive too. So yeah, it gets a little bit confusing sometimes. So for those that are listening and they're maybe going through any of these transformations, I mean, it's super normal. And sometimes you may think that it's just you that is going to this unknown territory. But no, I think that we're all in a little way today, specifically in this year, 2025. And it's going to be just like that the next years, like more of the unknown, more of old recipes are not working, more of the old paradigm that we knew. It doesn't work. We need to come up with new ways. So, yeah, that's been my journey so far. And I think that is going to accelerate the transformation through the years. It's not going to be decades anymore. It's going to be like years or months, maybe. But yeah, it's exciting.
You also just mentioned Lakefront as being something new for you, and that you're also being exploring new ways of relating with other people and like in the same, like living together, basically. What is your experience here? Or actually, the first question, like, what brought you to Lakefront? I'm very curious about that.
Well, I find out about the inner development goals on 2023. With two friends, we co-founded the first hub in Chile in January. And we came to the summit in Stockholm from Santiago, which was super exciting because we were coming from Latin America. It's so far away, and the Scandinavian countries is like the mecca for us. Like, oh, they know everything. Everything here is so developed. So the IDGs are like incredible, and they were the IDGs gave us this framework for those who we were working in transformation in organizations, for example. So it was a really good way to start saying the sustainable development goals are great, but we are not reaching any of them. I've worked with a lot of them, especially the gender equality one. So it was a good framework to just give a little bit of meaning to, or like this map. So I stay in like looking on LinkedIn and social media about keeping up with just what was going on with the IDGs. And this year in March 2025, I read this post on LinkedIn from Thomas, and he was talking about Lakefront. I had no idea about Lakefront. I was in Spain. I've been nomadic for part-time nomadic, now full-time nomadic for the last 4 or 5 years. So I was in Spain. I had no plan to come to Sweden at all. It was never even in my bucket list. But when I read this on LinkedIn, I felt this pull, like, I have to be there. This is amazing. And I applied, I had the interview, I got the money, and I bought the ticket in 1 week. Like, it was super fast. Like, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. Especially when they told me, like, we are making this cohort and we're going to an island because we want to start building culture. And I was like, I have to be there, because I thought about coming maybe in 3 or 4 months. I didn't want it to rush it so much. And a lot of, lately, a lot of my decisions are like, mostly how they feel. If I feel that pull, that intuition, that I don't know what, um, if it's very aligned, it's gonna come like effortlessly. Everything will like align to make it happen. And when I try to control something a lot, like, I want to, I don't know, I want to apply to this fund and I want to make it, and I'm going to make a huge project and I want to get the resources and I'm going to stay until 3 a.m. just to make an incredible proposal. And it doesn't work because I was controlling too much. I think that if it's aligned, it's going to happen like easily. But this is, I've been traveling for the last 4 or 5 years, and I stay like a month in different places in the world, like living in co-works and co-living places, Airbnbs, like with a group of people, but never for, I've been here 4 months, I'm going to be 5 months, never with this intention of a community that also wants to make their inner work, but also to come with, how can we impact the world? How can we do things different? I was never in a community like this. And I think that, honestly, I haven't even, well, I'm still here, but when the time comes, when I be outside, I know that this is going to be a life-changing experience for me. It's going to be a chapter that is going to mark a before and an after. I know that already. I knew that actually since the moment we were in the island and we met a few months ago. I knew then that I was going to be now like this, crying every day because I'm leaving in the end of the month. And it's been like that. I knew it. I feel the depth of the project. So I'm just so honored to be here and to live what we've been through together and with all this amazing group of humans that we know here.
Thank you for sharing that and taking us on this journey. And I truly feel your heart in that, and how that, what it means to you to be here and be experiencing this, and having had this experience of the last couple of months. Is it already ripe that you can share what it is that you're taking from this, or is it more like I'll find out actually maybe in a couple of months what I took from it?
In my case, I've noticed that thinking about large impact comes in the form of communities. And I think that for many reasons, from business to astrological estimations, for example, let's see what's going to happen in the future years or decades. Communities will be what is going to help us go through some challenging times. And I think that the depth of the relationships that you have in a community with the people that are part of, it's super important, because that's like the network in the end, how strong it's going to be, how we are bonding from truth, from authenticity, from love and care and respect and being open and being vulnerable. So I think that most of my time in Lakefront, I've dedicated to make deep, meaningful one-on-ones with these amazing people that it's here. And sometimes, I don't know, we have so many practices every day. We have so many activities. Sometimes we start like at 7:30, 8, a meditation, or I don't know, yoga or different practices. And then we go to have breakfast. And then we have a second coffee. And then all of a sudden it's 12 or 1. And I've been having like 3 conversations, or sometimes 1 3-hour conversation with someone. That that has really changed me in the way of relating, because I'm putting the time and noticing how important it is that when you make that kind of commitment of knowing people and letting people know you too, like your real you beyond those identities and roles, I think that we are building relationships for life. I can see myself looking years ahead, knowing some of these people, getting married, maybe having children, maybe having their own projects, maybe doing projects together. But I know that for sure, because with networks with less depth, I've been together with them for over 10 years. So this one that is like, I know people's souls here and hearts. We've been through so many things together. It's like, I know that it's going to be, I don't know, many decades that we're going to be in touch. So, and I will recommend that. I mean, that magic here in Lakefront is like, it's built for that, because we are in such a beautiful place looking at the lake and we have activities all the time. But it's actually that you can do anywhere, having deep, strong, authentic relationships with your neighbors, with your friends, with your family. And I always remember this story of this nurse that she made a book about this, that she was asking people when they are like dying and they are like in their last days, if they had any regrets. People always mention that they regret not having deep, strong relationships with other people, that was the most important thing. And I can feel that now, that my life is so rich because of that, that from here, like, I only want these kind of relationships. Like, I can't talk about the weather or like light things. I have to talk about why we are alive and who am I and my soul and whatever deep topic that we talk here in Lakefront, like over coffee. That's how I want to relate with people. And it's incredibly easy to, after a talk of deep conversation, how you see yourself, how you see the other is really different. And I've noticing that also. I've noticed in business, for example. You can do this in business with your clients, with your coworkers. Having, I think that more authentic relationships, it's going to, I don't know, help us remember again about this beautiful concept of unity. Actually, we're all just one. Just this helps me remember and kind of feel it so clearly. We forget that we have this unity. So that, and actually 300 other things I could say about Lakefront. I mean, this time for me has been amazing, but that's just one. Deep relationships.
And I was now I know also that you're very excited about this topic of the future of work. And I was right now thinking, from this experience being here at Lakefront, what is it that you might be taking for your own work or your own research on this question of what is the future of work and how can it be even informed, for example, by these experiences that you are having and that you are having here at Lakefront?
Yeah, after working 10 years in DEI, and trying to change organizations from how they are, how they exist, and having a lot of also a personal journey on the narratives that we're having on how work should change. I think that one of the biggest transformations is going to be fueled by AI. We're already feeling it. The estimations is that there will be a lot of layoffs in the next 1, 2, 3 years. And there's going to be a crisis of purpose and sense of who am I after being laid off. Like if I was doing a work and all of a sudden an AI agent just replaced me, like, so what am I? How am I going to look for a job if this job is not already existing? So we can have like two narratives of that. Like AI is terrible, it's going to take all of our jobs, and AI cannot do what a human does. Or it can help us remind ourselves that some jobs were actually never meant to exist. If we had the technology to, AI can do it. How can I use my precious time on Earth to be a human being that enjoys this experience and do meaningful things? And by meaningful things, I'm not sure if we are actually thinking that being in an office, in a little cubicle, just 8 hours processing data and numbers and files is the best use of my time on Earth. And there's this movie that I love called Soul that reflects that so well. There's a moment when they're showing like people like zombies working, like, and my heart really crushes because I was that person for 10 years, looking the time where it will be 6 p.m. so I could leave, or making the countdown of my holidays, like, okay, 300 days to get 2 weeks off, 200 days, 150 hours for 10 years, that person. So today, if AI replaces those kind of jobs, actually, if we can go to the narrative of that's a good thing because we were never meant to use our time on Earth like that. We could do other things like connect with nature, connect with friends, with my family, with health, with my spiritual growth, and my talents in the end of who am I beyond what I study in university, what I've been working, because that doesn't define me. But it's a large process. I mean, it's deep, more than large. It's like deep work. And I think that we're all going to have to help each other when that starts happening. For some other people, they will continue working, but probably the workload, it will change. From five, the estimations are from 5 days that we know, like in workplaces, we're working from Monday to Friday. Probably by 2030 will be 3 days. So imagine having weekends of 4 days. It sounds amazing for those who are working and are so set in working 40 hours per week. What we're going to do with that time, I've asked some people, and actually I've heard like, I'm gonna get another job. And I'm like, no, it's a precious gift to do other things. And for me, if we can remember why we are here on Earth, because this lifestyle that we know, this modern lifestyle, is something very recent of a few centuries ago. But if you look back 300, 500, 1,000 years ago, humanity was gathering on the river, dancing, doing other things. So we kind of can't connect with that. Actually, in Lakefront, we are connecting a little bit with that, with the mix of this modern lifestyle, but also connected and having more time to be in nature because we are prioritizing that. So I think that more and more people will be connecting to that, but we need to help each other to prioritize and remember that we can be those human beings, to cultivate our soul and our connections with the divine, with the universe, with Mother Earth, and will also help that deep awareness and consciousness to fix many of the problems that we have with our planet. So I think that is going to be very helpful, but we need to navigate that together in the narratives. So for me, I think that AI and everything that is happening is good if we put the focus on what we're going to do with that extra time, how we are going to help um, also to have the financial stability for that. So other conversations about universal income are coming. So help people in that transition as well. But for me, it's actually, I'm super annoyingly positive. I think that it's going to be great that all of this disruption happens, but it's going to be a little messy. So we need to work on a positive narrative of how actually the future of work, it's going to be amazing.
What would you do if AI would replace your job from tomorrow onwards?
What will I do? What will I do? I think that my spiritual work, and that is so personal because now it's the Aquarius time, so it means that there are no gurus or religion. Everyone can choose their own spiritual path. My own path has become, how can I be more aligned with something bigger than myself? And that gives me what I call illogical certainty, which is what other people call faith. So if that will happen, I will try to what it's been hard to learn this word, but this has been my year of surrender. And that's a beautiful word. Actually, now I love it. Surrender. Surrender to whatever happens. Because if I go in this spiritual work that I'm doing, one of the things that I've learned is like things don't happen to me, they happen for me. So if I'm replaced, okay, great. What comes next? Something probably better, because everything that is happening is for my benefit. So if I see that way, which sounds great, but this is a lot of months or maybe years of working in my mindset. But if something happens that is from the outside challenging or bad news or terrible, I actually go back and it's like, okay, this is it. Bring it. And I'm going to increase my capacity, my container, my vessel for bigger things. If I handle this thing with appreciation, lessons learned, letting go, surrender, and something else will come. And that had happened to me actually. So I've seen it also in action. Like, okay, I don't know, if you're fired, if you get divorced, if you need to close a project, if something doesn't work the way you want it, there is a reason for that. We just need to kind of accept it and try to see it that way. So yeah, I will surrender and accept and be excited for what's next.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I also really resonate with that. It's something I've been practicing for myself as well in the last couple of years, really this understanding of how I frame it, that like in my worldview, I call it one essence. There's one essence that wants to express itself in life and expresses itself all the time through all these different shapes and forms and humans and animals and nature. And then we have like the choice. We can either resist it or not listen, or we could pick up the phone and listen, be like, okay, what do you want to tell me? And then see whatever that is that wants to come through. And can be expression through creativity. It can be just like deep contemplation. It can be other forms of listening. And I find it interesting to also tune into this frequency and start creating from this place. Very concrete things. Work. You also how to relate to nature and the people, for example. So yes, I deeply resonate with that.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned creating, it's super important because when you stop thinking that bad things happen to you, you break that pattern of victimhood.
Mm.
Because we can be so easily just think that everything happened to us and poor of us because the world is so bad and terrible. Either, well, there are many things that we could be like telling ourselves that victim story. But when you break that and you realize that you're actually the creator of your life and you can take like, okay, this happened to me, but it doesn't define me. I can do something else. I have that power. Just remembering that, things shift. It's like incredible. But sometimes we are fed for that victim story. And that is so dangerous. So you will want to get together with people that have that mindset because you need to protect it. You will need, I would say, you need to be careful with what you consume, the ideas, the shows, social media. All of that resonate with fear will not help you trying to get this creator mindset, I would say. Like you need to be very careful and nurture that energy of, yes, this is a high vibration energy, actually, the creator one. So that's beautiful. And I think that you can tell right away when people is in that story, because I've been also in the victim story. Like I know when we are there. And I don't want to do that. No. And no. And I think that is very responsible also to see in which areas maybe in my life I'm telling myself that victim story so I can empower myself and just change the narrative. Like you can change it in a second. We don't need like years of therapy. You can change it in a second. That's the craziest thing. So just noticing where I'm telling myself that in some areas of my life, I've seen a really quick change, radical acceptance, radical forgiveness, and a powerful storytelling in my head.
What would you say if we take a look at the future of work again? Like, how could we apply like these principles, these practices, this mindset to the future of work?
Mm. I think that a lot of people is going to leave the corporate world, and we're going to see more people being freelance or being entrepreneurs. And that's going to be a huge shift on economy, on how we relate, how we provide businesses, how we provide services. But I will be very careful in not replicating some of the behaviors and patterns that we have of the old ways. So now I'm thinking, for example, in my next projects, I don't want to be creating projects from scarcity, from fear, from thinking that I need to be an early adopter or I need to come up with the huge latest technology or idea or I don't know what. I want to come from abundance. I will say that there are a lot of problems and they can be a lot of solutions. How can I be out of service? Connecting again with like a bigger figure, universe, God, how you call it, and try to be out of service in a very humble, aligned, heartful way. And that's going to make all the difference in the business or whatever project that you're doing. So changing a little bit of that from scarcity to abundance, from logic, intellect, market research to sometimes intuition. Intuition in business is something that actually is actually being taught to some CEOs now, because your intuition is another way of intelligence that is way bigger than our heads and everything we know and all the papers or business analysis that we can do. Sometimes something tells you, like, yeah, everyone is telling me that I shouldn't do this, but I think that is going to be like a good thing. Trusting more on that requires a lot of this illogical certainty that I was telling you, slash faith, but it's something that you can cultivate on your own. I think that that's a really nice way of doing business. Also, from fear and not trusting to trust, love, expansion. I am a truly believer that you can build friendship in the workplace. I don't buy that thing of like dividing your life in like your personal life and your professional life. I think that we can do a little beautiful mix of both. And for that, you can take anything like ownership, transparency, time, and rhythms on how you're working. Like everything, I would say that we are in a moment of change completely. What we thought about the meaning of work it is itself. Sometimes the future of work for me is even like it's not enough. It's like even the word work, it has sometimes such a negative connotation. um, it's like what we do with our life, with our time awake on Earth. Do we want to create things? Do we want to? Uh, I think that connect in the end with our purpose and what makes sense to us to deliver and give and have a little legacy here in the planet. So it is very deep. I think that it will require a lot of like sense making of what this that we just made up, and it's actually very modern concept. This thing of working and having working hours after the industrial revolution. So I think that we are in a moment of of remaking those rules. And I always remember I had this little my company as a small company, but we started like 2 or 3 years ago making retreats because we were all working online. And I had a small company in Latin America, but we were flying people from different places of the world. We are getting together one week and we were having like the best time, like a retreat for ourselves. And that's why we're opening a retreat for other people now. And people were asking me, like, can I work in your company? And I was like, anyone could do this. I mean, a large corporation, of course, they have the resource to do that. And I would say that that changed a lot how we relate with my coworkers, with my colleagues. And I'm not saying that we were perfect. We had a lot of challenges as well. But just putting a little bit of relations in the workplace for me are important. Talking about friendship, having a best friend in in your work, it's super important for retention. So I don't know. I think that we are in a moment of either you work in your own company and you have just a few people working, or if you're in a large corporation and you have the power of maybe get influence in how decisions are making or how the strategic plan is being developed for future months or years. Let's think a little bit. Let's not. We're gonna have to think a little bit outside of the box. But again, I think that if we have our hearts in the right place, we will make new narratives for what means to work.
If someone is listening right now or watching this and is like, wow, Priscilla is amazing. I would love to have more of Priscilla, work with Priscilla, collaborate with her. What could be ways that they could do that? I was just thinking that out in my mind.
Well, I'm kind of a LinkedIn nerd. I know. I mean, in Lakefront, we make fun a little bit of the LinkedIn vibe because it's too corporate. But actually, I really love, I have to admit, I love LinkedIn. So if anyone look for me, Priscilla Zamora Politis in LinkedIn. I meet new people every day. Actually, today I have a virtual coffee with someone from Germany that is coming to Sweden, and it's a young agent of change, and we're gonna talk just to network. So it happens to me a lot. So happy to stay in touch in LinkedIn. It's this is another identity that is hard for me to admit, but I'm a content creator in LinkedIn. I have a newsletter, and I'm just saying that because it's so important, I would say, to just speak up your mind, to be out there and talk these kind of ideas. I think that either in the corporate world, which is my area, or other areas that you want to make a little influence or inspiring people, like just speak up. It's so important. So for those that also want to talk about personal branding or authentic personal branding, I'm open for those conversations too. And I don't know, anything that they want to talk about or help. Like I'm super open to that. And yeah, Instagram and TikTok is like I can't. I just am not cool enough or young enough for TikTok. But yeah, LinkedIn works perfect.
Amazing. And for me, the same. I'm probably not cool enough for TikTok. I haven't made my way there yet. And as this conversation is now coming to a close, I also wanted to ask you if there's anything else that you still want to share with the people listening or watching, or if there's anything that's still on your heart. We're like, oh, I really want people to know this. Whatever it is, if there's something for you to share now.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would love to increase networks, especially between global South and the global North. Now I've been a few months in Europe. I'm going next month to Brazil, and Latin America for me is such an important network. So I'm holding a retreat there in the end of November, and probably I'll stay a few months in Dubai. So like putting together Europe, Middle East, and Latin America, it's super important for me. So everyone thinking in new ways of communities, collaboration, how the work can be different, how entrepreneurship can be different. Um, Happy to open those conversations. And So yeah, I think that now like my efforts, and so many incredible things are happening in all of these places. It's just that sometimes like we don't see that, wow, yeah, we could do this and that together. So super open to any of those collaborations. I do feel so blessed of actually being a digital nomad. Working online is super great, but when I have the chance to do things face to face, like retreats or like I don't know, workshops and stuff like that in person, I need that to also feel with energy. I love the online world, but at the same time, I'm enjoying so much like in person, and I think that we're needing that, being in nature, being with people, having heartful conversations. That's super important. But yeah, I would love to be a little bridge also between amazing things that are happening in the Emirates, for example, or in Latin America. And we've been able to talk about a lot of that here in Lakefront, which here we have many people from so many countries, and it's been such a rich diversity of opinions and life experiences. So I'm really looking for that. Really open to be out of service, connecting people also. And yeah, that.
Then thank you so much, Priscilla. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for being here, and I'm grateful that we get to live together.
It's been so great. Thank you, John, for this beautiful podcast, for the questions. And it's been so beautiful also to get to know you, how you are as a professional, as a facilitator, but mostly as a person. Because when we live in community, it's like, I don't know, the coffee, the meals that we've shared, the challenges that we've shared in this moment. It's like you really get to know people like from their hearts, from your souls, and your soul is such a beautiful one. So thank you for, I don't know, I'm so happy for this moment and for the time we have shared in our community, in our home.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Priscilla, and for everyone who's listening, watching. Looking forward to speaking to you in the next episode of Waves of Change.